Here we are in week 8. Atmospheric pressure and wind, global circulation patterns and modifications, and local winds. But before we start week 8, I want to go back and talk about weeks 6 and 7. During week 6, we had an exam, and we also started chapter 4 material. Week 7 continued our study of material in chapter 4. So we finished chapter 4, and this week we'll be starting chapter 5. But you should double check by clicking on the weekly intro pages that you've actually mastered that material. You should be able to easily answer the 8 learning objectives. Those answers should be complete and precise, and you shouldn't have to use your notes. If you're not quite there yet, which is likely, be sure that you write out answers to all 8 of these questions, and then go over them daily until you feel like you've mastered the material. So this is week 7, and you should do the same thing. Or excuse me, that was week 6. You should do the same thing for week 7. Again, there's 8 learning objectives that you should have mastered. You should be able to answer these questions without looking at your notes. If you can't, you need to go back and write out thorough answers to these questions. Ask for assistance if necessary until you feel like you've mastered each of these concepts. All right, let's go back to week 8. And you'll look at the learning objectives there as well. And at the end of this week's lesson, you're going to go back and answer these 10 learning objectives in writing. I can't stress enough that if you feel like you've mastered these learning objectives that we have each week, you're likely to do pretty well on the exam. And notably, if you have these answers already in writing, what a great study tool to use to study for the exam and to have handy while you're taking the exam. Lastly, trying to put together that sort of study aid the week of the exam is a bit overwhelming. So you should be answering these questions each week. 8 to 10 written out answers for yourself each week.